So today I want to talk to the person who has been trying to move forward emotionally, but something inside you still feels unsettled after what's happened. You are functioning, you are showing up, you are handling responsibilities, you are smiling when necessary, but internally, something changed after the breakup, after the disappointment. Something changed after the betrayal. Something changed after the heartbreak. Something changed after constantly being let down. And, sometimes people think healing means just move on. You hear people saying, just move on, forget it, move on. People have told me after some heartbreak, like, just move on, move on, move on, you know. But the truth is this: emotional healing is deeper than pretending something did not affect you. Because betrayal has a way of changing people quietly. Sorry, those are scammers. They don't stop. Sorry. You know, sometimes, where am I? Sometimes it changes how people trust, and sometimes it changes how people connect emotionally. Sometimes it changes how safe people feel emotionally. Sometimes it changes how people see themselves. And one thing that I want you to understand is this: you can survive something emotionally while still needing healing from it. Last week we discussed heal, Heal. We talk about emotional healing and acknowledging emotional pain. Honestly, I told you about honor, which is awareness. But this week, okay, I want to continue that conversation because healing is not only about recognizing pain, it is also about rebuilding emotionally afterward. And today, we are walking through what I call RISE: how to rebuild emotionally after betrayal and disappointment without losing yourself in the process. Where's mine? Okay. So, one of the things I've observed over the years working with people emotionally is this: many people do not realize how much emotional pain has shaped their current emotional responses. Okay. Some people will say, I don't know why I struggle to trust now. I don't know why I shut down emotionally now. I don't know why I overthink everything now. I don't know why I feel emotionally tired all the time. But often there is a history connected to that emotional response. Like I said, sometimes, and for the most times, disappointment changes people quietly, not overnight, not dramatically, but gradually. And after repeated emotional pain, people sometimes start protecting themselves emotionally without realizing it. And I think this is important because many people are not intentionally healing, they are adapting. There's a difference, okay? There's a difference. Adapting emotionally is when people create survival responses just to avoid being hurt again. Healing emotionally is when people intentionally rebuild themselves in a healthy way. And many people today are surviving, but they are not emotionally rebuilding. That is why this conversation matters. And like I said, I want to use the okay, so this is what I call rise. Number one is so number one is R in the rise. Recognize what betrayal changed inside you. Is to recognize what betrayal changed inside you, because I always talk of the law of awareness, that you have to know, you have to be aware of something. And today we want to talk about number one is to recognize what betrayal changed in you. What betrayal changed in you? What betrayal changed inside of you? So, what betrayal changed inside of you? Healing begins with emotional honesty. That's what we said last week. It begins with emotional honesty. One of the mistakes that many people make after emotional pain is pretending nothing changed, but that's a lie. But emotional wounds often leave emotional patterns behind. You may notice increased anxiety, emotional withdrawal, um, trust struggles, fear of vulnerability, emotional exhaustion, fear of disappointment, overthinking, people pleasing, emotional shutdown. And if people never recognize these changes, they may continue building their lives from wounded emotional patterns. I want you to know recognition is not weakness, okay? Recognition is awareness. I want you to say to yourself recognition is not weakness, it is awareness. You cannot rebuild what you refuse to acknowledge. So if you have told you move on and you decide that, okay, I want to move on, you move on. But you are suffering and you can notice all these things I've mentioned. You cannot rebuild what you refuse to acknowledge. And emotional maturity requires honesty. It requires honesty. Sometimes people say, I'm fine, I'm okay. But internally, they no longer feel emotionally safe. That really matters. For those who are listening to me, sorry, excuse me. Because the truth of the matter is, unresolved emotional pain eventually affects relationships, your confidence, leadership, peace, emotional regulation, and decision making and clarity. So, recognition is the beginning of intentional building. Recognition is the beginning of intentional buildings. Okay, what's the next one? What is the next one? So, number one, number two, we are talking about recognition in the process. So, what's the next thing in the process is the I in the rise. Interrupt emotional survival patterns. After emotional betrayal, many people unconsciously develop survival patterns. So, how do you interrupt that? So, how do we interrupt that? So, how do you interrupt? These patterns protect them emotionally at one point. So, they have developed, patterns, they have developed some coping mechanism. So, but eventually they begin limiting emotional health. So some people shut down emotionally, some avoid vulnerability, some isolate themselves, and some expect disappointment constantly. Like, some over control situations, some emotionally detach. The nervous system learns survival quickly after pain. So, but survival mode is not the same thing as healing. And many people remain emotionally stuck because they never interrupt the unhealthy patterns pain created. So healing requires intentional interruption. So what does that mean when we talk of interruption? What does that mean? What does it mean to interrupt? What does it mean to interrupt the pattern? What does it mean to interrupt? Interruption means becoming aware of emotional triggers, recognizing unhealthy reactions, learning healthier emotional responses, rebuilding emotional safety, processing emotions instead of suppressing them. And this is very important. Being hurt is not weakness, but remaining trapped in survival patterns, especially, um, will eventually affect the quality of life emotionally. So you have to interrupt it. Okay. So what is the next one? Okay. So the next one is strengthen emotional boundaries. To strengthen emotional boundaries. So what does that mean? What does it mean to strengthen emotional boundaries? I hope you are enjoying this and I hope you are learning something. I want to hear your comment, your question. You can write your question there. If I don't answer now, I'll come back with that. And also let me know what is bothering you. What do you think we can help you with? And also I'm holding a class, a 90 minutes class session on June 14, 2 p.m. You can register through the link. I'll put the link in the comment section later on. You know, so what does it mean to strengthen emotional boundaries? Is it my sorry? A lot of things. My alarm. I normally pray by 9 p.m. So strengthen emotional boundaries. What does that mean? You know, what does that mean? One thing emotional pain often exposes is where boundaries were weak. ignored, violated, or completely absent. Not every betrayal happens because somebody lacked boundaries. Sometimes people genuinely trusted the wrong person. There are people that they just they appear to be nice, they appear to be honest, but the truth is they are not honest. So sometimes we are vulnerable, sometimes we grant access to the wrong person, not because you don't have boundaries, not because um, you are weak. So I don't want you to put yourself down. I don't want you to beat yourself down, you know, for the things that happened. You didn't cause it to happen. It happened, okay? Things do happen. The best of people still experiences betrayal. So don't beat yourself down, okay? Many of us have been through it, But the truth of the matter is, healing requires wisdom afterward. What happened last year should not happen again. What happened in 1800 should not happen in 2026. Okay. So emotionally healthy boundaries protect emotional capacity. Okay. It will protect your emotional capacity. So we are talking number 3. So it will strengthen your emotional capacity. You know, it will protect your peace, your clarity, it will protect your emotional stability, it will protect your self-respect. So, some people continuously overgive emotionally while neglecting themselves. That's not good. That's not right. Some tolerate emotional dysfunction too long, and some people will abandon their own emotional needs, trying to preserve relationships. You may not, like I always say, even some relationships that are not intimate, you just want to be at peace with everybody, and then you violate your own boundaries. But healing teaches people this: you can care deeply without abandoning yourself emotionally. Let me say that again. So you can care for others deeply without abandoning yourself emotionally. Healthy boundaries are not punishments. Okay? Healthy boundaries are not punishments. They are for protection. So emotionally mature people understand that protecting their emotional peace is wisdom. Okay? It is wisdom. So let's go to number 4 in the process. So number 4 is emerge with wisdom, not bitterness. Emerge with wisdom, not bitterness. Okay. One of the greatest dangers after betrayal is allowing emotional pain to harden the heart, because unresolved pain can quietly become what? Bitterness, resentment, emotional coldness, distrust, anger, and cynicism. And eventually, what happened? People stop expecting good things from life. But the truth of the matter is this: the truth is, healing is not becoming emotionally hard, healing is becoming emotionally wiser. It's not becoming emotionally hard, it's becoming emotionally wiser. You do not have to lose your softness to gain wisdom. You do not have to become emotionally cold to become emotionally protected. Real healing is this: allowing people to emerge. Real healing will allow you to emerge, to transform, because that is the ultimate goal. You know, it will make you to emerge wiser, healthier, clearer, stronger, emotionally safer, emotionally stable without becoming bitter. And let me emphasize this is very important, very, very important. What happened to you matters, but what emotional pain turns you into also matters. What happened to you matters. I'm not dismissing it, okay? But I'm also telling you, as long as it matters, even your healing also matters more than even that pain. Do not allow betrayal to permanently disconnect you from peace, purpose, and emotional health or healthy relationships. So many things happening around me right now. I don't know why. You know, maybe you are listening to me today or the replay, the watch, but whatever, however way that this comes to you or you come across this. I want you to remember something, you know, that some people are functioning outwardly while internally rebuilding from disappointment, rejection, heartbreak, betrayal, emotional exhaustion, or even emotional pain. And I want you to remember this: healing is not pretending it did not hurt. Healing is being honest with what happened to you. Healing is rebuilding yourself intentionally after it hurt. And rebuilding requires awareness, honesty, emotional work, support, wisdom, boundaries, intentional healing. You deserve emotional restoration too. I want you to listen to the one for last week. And, if you believe that, I always say something: healing is intentional. Emotional healing is intentional, just like physical healing. Emotional healing is intentional. And that is one thing that a lot of people don't understand. Emotional healing is very intentional. You see, some of the things that causes all those cancers and all those risks are bitterness, anger, some of those things that people did not let go of their, you know, system. So let me say this, in a conclusive manner. If this teaching, I know it's short, resonates that deeply with you and where you are emotionally, or someone that needs something like this right now, please do not hesitate to share with them. Let's share knowledge. I encourage you to explore the transformational resources available through the CoachDTO ecosystem. My website is fsmi.online, fsmi.online. It will be in the description. So whether through coaching, emotional healing resources, pattern breaker, performance reset, or disciplinary intensives. There are so many things, There are resources that are there created to support emotional rebuilding journey. So many, so many, so many, and even devotionals. And I want you to remember this: betrayal may have wounded you, but it does not have to define who you become next. Betrayal may have wounded you, but does not have to define who you become next. See you next week, Saturday. For those who may not know, this is every Saturday by 11 a.m. So you can always look forward to a coaching session with CoachDTO. My name, I forgot to mention, if you are coming here for the first time, I am Dr. Oyindamola Okenla, board certified master mental health coach. I'm an author of many books: emotional healing books, spiritual books, transformation books, I'm an author. I write to help people, to rebuild their lives after breakups, breaking cycles, unhealthy cycles, emotional, you know, trauma, and all kind of. And also, yeah, I'm an author, I'm a coach, I'm a transformation catalyst. I'm also, by God's grace, I'm a minister of God. By God's grace, I'm licensed. I'm ordained and licensed. So I'm a Christian counselor, certified Christian counselor. I'm a professional life coach, and all and all and all and all. And by God's grace, I have over 30 years now of experience in ministry leadership and the marketplace. So I know what I'm doing, and I've been through trauma. I've been through breakups. I've been through disappointments. I've been through betrayals. I've been through church hurt. I've been through many things. So I know what I'm talking about. And I've helped a lot of people. So every month I have an intensive. So the next intensive that I have is coming up on June 14th, 2 p.m. So you can register to the link in the bio, or yeah. So I'll see you next week, Saturday, by God's grace. Okay, bye for now. So write your comments, write your questions, and I will get back to you. Let me put up the